Hi, we want to welcome you to the digital age, using technology to level up your programs. My name is Ashley Lomboy. I am a member of the Waccamaw Siouan tribe. I am also the Global Information Security Manager for Corning and the Program Director for the Waccamaw Siouan STEM Studio. STEM Studio is a program that is ran underneath the Waccamaw Siouan tribe that helps in engaging tribal youth into STEM programs. It's ran by volunteers, and we're really happy to have you here with us today to learn more about the digital age. And I'll let my co-partner here, Cody Sutherland, introduce himself as well.
Hello, I'm Cody. I'm also a member of the Waccamaw Siouan tribe. I'm an associate manager in the software engineering group at Red Hat, and I guess co-founder and technical support for the STEM Studio program. That's probably enough about me.
Awesome. So we're really excited to have you all here today, and we really want to share and weave through what we've been able to accomplish with STEM Studio using technology to really help advance and engage with tribal community. All right, so let's get started. So on our agenda for today, Cody will share with us about building a strong foundation and how important that is to the tribal community. Without a strong foundation, it's hard to build on. And so we want to help share with you how we were able to do that. I'll come back in and share some about our community engagement efforts, about really meeting the community where they are at now. And so a lot of our community members, tribal members are, on the computer, they're out in the digital world, and we want to meet them within territory and out territory. So, and then we'll come back again and share more about available resources that you can use to help you in leveling up your programs as well. All right, so let's get started.
All right. We picked a few different categories to talk about the infrastructure that you need to enable your success. We're going to talk a bit about website addresses, email addresses, and electronic documentation storage, or electronic document storage. So website addresses are commonly referred to as web domains, and that's just a place that people go on the internet to get to access to your content, so like google.com. Some of the reasons why you want to have a website for your organization or your project or your group is that it establishes trust and is an official place for communications with your community, your group, and also with the world, because anyone in the globe can visit your website. This also gives you a central location to provide all the information that you need to give someone about your organization. So you give them your web address, they visit your web address, and then they have access to all the content that you might want to tell them about. These days, websites are relatively easy to manage and pretty cheap using website builders. Gave you a couple examples there: GoDaddy, Wix, Weebly. There are several others. For example, the STEM Studio program, we have our webpage is the waccamaw-siouan.org/STEM-studio. It's probably a bad domain to use as an example, but we use the GoDaddy website builder for the Waccamaw Siouan website. And if you visit our webpage, then you'll see all the information that you need to know about the STEM Studio program. It offers a place that interested individuals can sign up, subscribe to our mailing list, learn more about our programs, and also gives a place that you can donate directly to us on the website. So that's really neat. Moving on to the next thing is email addresses. Corporate email addresses, or email addresses that are associated with your website or your web domain. The biggest thing that they give you is they establish trust with your recipients. When you send someone an email address from waccamaw-siouan.org, then they know immediately that there's someone associated with the organization. So they can visit the website, learn more about the organization, and they know that the person that reached out to them is affiliated with the organization in some way, instead of just getting some email from anybody with a free address like something at yahoo.com or at AOL, and then not really knowing, unless you actually know the person that sent it to you, whether or not they're affiliated with the organization. It gives your organization a lot more credibility when reaching out to government organizations or businesses and stuff like that. Let's see what else. The other thing I wanted to mention is that when you're conducting official business in a personal email address, then the organization or the group or nonprofit doesn't have any legal access to the account. So the account owner, the person, could tell you, no, you can't access their account. They could get upset and leave and take all the contacts that they had with them, and you have no recourse against that. And that definitely could hurt your business continuity if someone leaves and they were the single point of contact for your organization, and then you have no way to tell people that are reaching out to them that they really need to be reaching out to you or someone else. Some examples of email hosting providers are Google Workspace, Microsoft 365, etc. The STEM Studio program, I think I mentioned a second ago, uses Google Workspace. They provide all of our email addresses, and it's also free for nonprofits. So we can give as many whoever at walkamossyon.org email addresses that we need. We can also create groups. So if you visit our webpage, you'll see that we have a group, STEM at walkamossyon.org. And that group is just the organizers of the STEM program. So if you reach out to that, you're reaching out to everyone that's involved with our STEM program that's organizing things. So if you have questions, that's a good place to start. So next, and finally, we have electronic document storage. Storing your documentation in the cloud allows you for collaboration and a centralized storage for your documentation. So you don't have to worry about losing stuff. It's always in the same place. And it also gives you the ability for multiple people to work on a document together at the same time. So for example, if you're on a Zoom call and you want to take some notes, you could create a document in Google Workspace or Google Drive. And then everyone can contribute to that document at the same time, and you can all see each other typing and all that kind of stuff. All the documentation and files that are stored in cloud storage have different permissions that you can set. So you can only allow certain people to access the document or the folder that you've created. So that keeps you from having unwanted people viewing your documentation. And you can create groups within your organizations generally that you share stuff with, like automatically. If you put it in a specific folder, everyone in the organization gets an email saying, hey, there's a new document available. Some of the examples of electronic document storage providers are Dropbox, Google Workspace, as I mentioned, and Microsoft 365. We use Workspace, and this allowed us to do things like create documents to house project information. We have shared folders for all the programs that all the program organizers can jump into and work on documents together. And we can also share links with a larger community so that people can, we can either open up access to everyone so that anyone with a link can access, or we can share a link and people can request access to us so that we know exactly who's looking at the document without opening up to the whole world. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to do, just kind of a basic coverage of those three options. Getting a website set up, getting email addresses, and having a place to keep your documents will really bring your organization up to the next level and allow you to kind of put your information out in front of the world, maybe get you some new funders, get you some new interested parties and volunteers, that sort of thing. And one more thing I wanted to mention was that we talked about Google and Microsoft a lot because those are names that are easily recognized by most people, but there are several other options and smaller ones that you can utilize as well. And I think that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, Cody. All right, so moving on with the community engagement is really about meeting the community where they are. And it depends on the type of engagement you want to have with the community and the frequency. And so what we have here is really a rubrics of, if you want high frequency of engagement or high frequency of communication and high engagement, really the top left bucket is for you. And so what we've been able to do is utilize Facebook groups to create polls, to gauge interest with the community, to create events and let the community know what we're doing. It's also used for teasers too. So we create a lot on Canva as being our go-to app for developing content. And so we use that along with Facebook groups to help us in getting information out to the community. And it's not just been the community, the tribal community, but also the greater community too. They want to know what we're doing. They want to know what we're about, and they can go there and learn more. And that can also link them back to the site, to the website that Cody mentioned earlier. We also utilize email distro using Google Contacts. So I'll get into data analytics here in a minute, but anyone who works with or puts information into our, or I'll say expresses interest into STEM Studio, we include them into an email distro. So whenever new events come up, they've already registered for something previously, we know that they have interest, we include them and send them and invite them to participate in more activities. And so it makes it so that we have multiple different avenues of communication, not just from the website where official communication, we also use Facebook. We also use the Google Contacts list that we've created. We have different groups there, just general, I'll say tribal community. We have what I call our extended partners. We have our partners. And so they all want to know kind of what we're doing. And that's also who we send our press releases to as well, to inform them of the events that we have going on. As Cody mentioned, cloud document storage has been really great for us as well, especially when we start working in smaller groups to design new programs for the community. We always create a new Google folder that we work out of simultaneously and share information through. It also makes it very easy. We don't have to send a ton of emails. We send links or shares through that, and it allows for easier and quicker collaboration. So we don't have multiple versions of the same document throwing through email. We're able to consolidate that using the cloud storage. Virtual conferencing tools such as Zoom, and there's plenty more. There's Google Meets we've also used as well to really help us, especially during the pandemic, to meet, collaborate. A lot of the STEM Studio members and participants don't live within the tribal territory. So they some live in Virginia. We even had one call in from Dubai a few months ago, Virginia, Texas, down in Florida, Alabama. So it allows us to broaden our reach, and we're all tribal community members. And so it's important to make sure that we're building a platform that is inclusive of all of our tribal members. And so we're able to do that through using these tools as well. We've also used Facebook Messenger too. I'll say we don't use it as heavily, but it is heavenly too. But we also want to kind of put that out there because it encourages high frequency of engagement, and also just more quick, I'll say, engagement. And with all of these things, it's also has us the ability of recovering. So if anything, maybe you missed a meeting, we record those meetings, and so you're able to go back and recall it. So there's recallability with all of this. So instead of me, picking up the phone, which I do like talking to people, it allows you to also have the ability of recalling the message that I sent, either through Facebook, through virtual conferencing tools, through Zoom, which creates the nice videos that we then put out onto YouTube channel. And so it allows us to do that. A little bit low frequency, some of the same ones, Google Forms collecting information is one I added in here for low frequency, but high engagement. So anytime we create a new program, instead of me getting in text or emails and having to manage that and getting the same information from everyone, I'm able to design a Google form that gets to exactly what information I need from the participant. Then I can take that information, analyze it, and determine what is the best course. We just launched yesterday a Marine Quest event that we're going to have on May 7th. And I want to know who needs a ride. And so through this tool, I'm able to determine who's interested, who's completed the form, and then who needs a ride to the event. And then we can work to address that. We've also used Google Canva tool for Teams. So we do have within Canva, and Cody's going to go over in a little bit about the resource with Canva. But other than creating content, we're able to share that content, edit the content, and also collaborate on it as well. And so we do that regularly using Canva, which is another great source for anyone who's trying to level up their programs. It can make something that is did not take you very long to do look like it took you all day. So not downplaying the level of work, but it can really, again, level up your program using the technology. If you're looking for maybe low engagement, and I don't think a lot of folks really understand about Facebook pages versus Facebook groups. Facebook pages are really intended for one-way communication from a business or from an organization. I'm sending information out to you, not a lot of engagement back. And so that's really how those pages are designed, is more for one way, versus in groups, it allows for other users to be able to post to that as well, and you to easily be able to see that. Now, these things change pretty frequently, seem like with Facebook, and what options are available for you. But in general, pages are really low engagement, but high frequency of communication. And then in low frequency, as Cody mentioned, websites. We don't update our website all the time. It's really meant for any major changes or updates or reorgs. We keep that updated. Newsletters is another low frequency, low engagement, not a method of getting information back from the consumer, this being the tribal community. And then lastly, here is YouTube channel. We do post videos to YouTube whenever, I'll say earlier this year and late last year, we had a career talks with some of our STEM members. And so we have those YouTube videos published and then out there onto the YouTube channel. However, that's really low frequency, and we're not doing that for engagement where we're expecting something back from the community. It's really meant for more one-way communication. And so I think it's important for you to understand where your community's at, what type of engagement they are more accustomed to, how they like to communicate. Some people don't like text, they'd rather an email. Some people would rather Facebook message versus an email. So it's good to know where your audience is at, and then you can design your type of engagement based off of that and what you're wanting to get back. Okay. Cody, did I miss anything you wanted to add?
I think that, oh yeah, as you were talking, I was thinking about Google business pages as well. Talking about Facebook pages, you can also have pages on search engines like Google business page. So like when you search for a business or an organization on Google, then they have a little card that comes up on the right, generally for whatever the businesses you're looking for, with all their information, their website, phone number, directions, hours, all that kind of stuff. So that's a great place for that low engagement, sort of low frequency updates that Ashley was mentioning as well, because you put your information there and then it doesn't really change very often.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Cody. All right. And then here, just continuing on, I did talk about Google Forms. It's something I enjoy using because I like data. And so another way of community engagement is through data analytics using the Google Forms. So what I have here on the right is just an example about some of the output you can get from using Google Forms. After you have submittals, you can also track submittals there. But based off of that, you can get some really great data that will help you in informing your programs, how to build them, and also inform what it is your community wants to see and do. Understanding that some of the older population may not be as familiar with this, but I can tell you with the type of engagement we've had within the Waccamaw Siouan tribe, I get a lot of elder participation with technology. So don't count them out as far as being engaged. I know Cody and myself, we started a kind of a call in at the beginning of COVID for some of our elders. And I mean, they were on, they were able to work the technology, and super impressed, and but not surprised. We're pretty smart people. And so first, whenever you want to build a Google form, build customized input for the forms. So identify what type of information it is you want to get back from the community. It could be, for example, as we're setting up for Marine Quest Day, it's what's the kid's name, it's what grade they are in school, do they need a ride? Whenever we were doing the fish camp, or whenever we're now signing up for our fish camp, we want to know, are they left or right-handed? So we make sure that we have enough fishing gear with that's set for left-handed kids. How many adults are coming? Do you need food or not? So there's a lot that we were asking for up front that really helps inform the program so that we can better be set for success. And so we build those forms based off of what we need. Then request input from large groups. We do this through two different ways. One is we create a link to the form. We include that in our Facebook message. We also include that in our press release. And then we also include it on the tribe's website. This all links them to the form so that they can complete it. And if you remember back about the engagement and using Google contact list, I'm able to include that Google contact list into the form so that whenever we complete the form and we're ready to send it out, I can invite all of them to the form to complete. And so this helps us, again, have 4 different touch points of communication: the tribe's website, Facebook page or Facebook group. We also create a Facebook event, and then also they get a direct email to the form to complete. And we make it super simple where the form is actually in the email for submittal. And then lastly here, just wrapping up, is around analyzing the data to identify trends. Early on, as we were starting the STEM Studio program, what we learned or what we wanted to know from the community is what they wanted to see. We wanted to build communication plans that were commensurate with what they wanted and how they wanted to be communicated to. We wanted to build programs that the community wanted to see and felt was needed. And so we took that information, and that's really what drove STEM Studio to what we're doing even now today. So we continually go back to that information to help us in informing our future programs. And so data analytics is my jam. I love it. And I like seeing the graphics. So, so yeah, so use it if you can. Again, it's free, as Cody shared earlier. All right.
All right, and I think we're getting tight on time, so I'm going to breeze through this relatively quickly. And if there are questions, like I said, you all can reach out to us via email. So as we mentioned, technology options range in skill and cost. The links here on the page for Google Workspace and Microsoft and for Canva Pro all go to their nonprofit registration pages. So if you're interested in learning more about either of those three, you can visit the page, learn more about it, and then you can sign up your nonprofit organization, directly there. They will ask you for a certification letter, if I recall correctly. So you have to have access to that information, but everything else is public. And let's see what else. Oh, for purchasing a domain or a website name, you can check out Namecheap or GoDaddy. Domains generally cost less than $20 a year, which is not very expensive for most organizations. And then for website builders, we talked about Weebly and Wix. They both have a free website builder you can use. You can go on and check it out, see if you like it. And you can actually use their domains for free. So you'll have whatever your group name is .weebly.com or whatever your group is .wix.com in the domain. So you don't necessarily have to purchase one, but you won't be able to host your email there or anything like that. So it kind of limits your options. So yeah, if there are any other questions, I think we talked about on the next slide, send us an email and I'll let us move on. Yeah, there we go. Email address.
Yeah, so let's utilize the email address. Thank you for attending and listening in, and hope you enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.